time to dive right into Google Presentations. Let's take a look around the interface, the wrapper, get used to some of the buttons and the tools here, and take a look at what we have to work with. Over here on the left-hand side, you see the Create button. We've already done the documents. This time, let's go to Presentations, much like the PowerPoint version of the Microsoft product in some ways. So I'm going to create and share it right away. It's just what you hit. You don't necessarily have to share it at all, but that's just the button you hit. Presentation actually is going to give you the option of picking your theme immediately, right off the bat. And while there are not a ton of themes, there's plenty to get your point across at this point. And you can also always put images in the background as your own theme if you want. But I'm going to start with the paper plane. That seems inviting and fun all at the same time. Here I am with my menu across the top, my main menu items, and all of the formatting pieces all up there along the top, as well as I've got a giant red button over here and some giant buttons up in the upper right hand corner as well. But before you do anything within Google Presentation, always name your document, otherwise you're going to end up with something called Untitled Presentation. So you click on that, brand new dialog pops up in the middle, and you can call it testing. You can call it anything you want, actually. There we go. I'm going to save my document, and now let's take a look around what this thing looks like and what some of the major items are in Google Presentation. The very first one right here, the present button, you don't press that until you're ready to actually present. It's the same thing as running a slideshow. It's when you're ready to present, you can click that. But realize next to the present button over here, there's actually a drop down. You can present it from the beginning with your speaker notes, or you can do it in a brand new window if you'd like. Then next to there are the comments. We're going to get back to comments later, but this is the same as in Google Docs, where you can leave comments for one another, and you can even check on comments from one another within that panel or pane right there. The last one over here is that share button that you have seen already, and you're going to see 100 more times as well. Right above the share button, you have your account information, where you can toggle back and forth between your different accounts again, or of course you can come down here and add a new account, or even sign out if you so desire. Just like in Google Docs, all changes have been saved. It's just a little label across the top, and every time you do anything, including just type a couple of words in here, you'll notice it says saving, and almost instantly it says all changes are saved. It's a beautiful thing. Takes your mind off of having to worry about going file save all the time, and it's built right in. Then we have the menu items, and we're going to work backwards through them quickly. Help, table, tools, all of these, if you click on them, reveal a little something more underneath them. And if you can't find formatting pieces in the toolbar here, you can certainly use this drop down, or within slide. The slide actually is what helps you navigate and create the items over here in the slide panel, just like creating a new slide or deleting a slide or even changing your background image within here. Then you have the insert, the view, edit, file. All this stuff is pretty self-explanatory, but I just want you to take notice that as I click on these different items down here, sort of like the ribbon in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, your menu item along the top actually changes. So right now I have all these formatting tools up along the top. If I click on the slide over here in the slide panel, you're going to notice I get a lot fewer options, but I also get some new options within background, layout, theme, and within the transition buttons. So I'm on the slide over here, which is, like I said, in the slide panel. This is your panel for creating and making things happen. This is your panel over here for just adding more slides. It's really quite simple, actually. Then at the very bottom, you're going to see you can add your speaker notes down here in the area where it says click to add notes. That's for your own personal preference. Let me just finish up this video by pointing out these last little buttons up here that we've already spoken about, but now I want to talk a little bit more in depth about them. So now I have my individual slide here. I'm going to add one more slide with the new slide button, and you will notice next to the plus button right here, there's actually a drop down. I could have added a slide with just a caption. There we go. So now I have 3 different types of slides in here. But on each of these slides, I can change my background. So if I click on that, you'll notice you can change the color actually. So even though the theme only gave you that limited option, you actually can come back in here and sort of customize your theme through this background piece. You can even choose an image that will take place of the colorization instead. You can even reset your theme, or you can apply to all the slides instead of just one. I'm going to hit done, and I'm going to go back up here to layout. This is where you can change the layout of individual slides. It's not the layout of the whole thing. So if I pick on this third slide right here, I can say, whoops, I did not want a caption slide. I wanted a title only slide, and you can just pop it back. Then we have the theme button, and this just brings you back to that same exact dialog you had before where you can add or change themes. Cancel out of this and go to the very last piece here. When you click on transitions, notice over here on the side an animations panel shows up, because this is animations and transitions are really the same thing. You can either transition from slide to slide or add animations to individual pieces. We're going to see how to do that in a later video, but this is the basics of how you get to that information. Whenever you're messing with animations and or transitions, this panel over here should show up, and you can reveal or hide just about anything within that panel. You can apply, mess with transitions, but you can always hide that panel. So I'm going to close that out and just remind you one last time, this is the basics. This is the way that presentations look. It's a really simple program, and it shouldn't take much time at all to learn and be comfortable with it. But there's a few little tweaks in the top left corner. If you want to go back to Google Drive, you have to hover over this and you're going to get that tiny little arrow. Or if you want to star it and make it important before you ever leave it, you can do that there. And one of the new features, which is awesome, is you can hit this little folder button here if you have folders in your drive, and you can organize it straight from within the presentation. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. You hit the organize button, and now you can organize it into any of your folders before you ever even go back to Drive. It is wonderful, and it's one of the best tweaks Google ever made. That's it for the getting used to the user interface of Google presentations.